How's it going, everybody? It's Emmanuel here, and I wanted to take a second and just kind of reach out to everybody. So I posted that video yesterday, and I wanted to get people a chance to kind of see what we've been working on. But I want you to know that's not the final product. So I apologize for the bad picture quality. There's no transitions on the video. A lot of it is just kind of us working out the kinks. So I used to play a lot of War Machine back in the day, and I really liked to get groups of people together and kind of like a think tank and just practice every week and apply the kind of graduate level gaming mentality to the game, which is just make a flowchart for everything, make a spreadsheet for everything, take the scientific approach to everything, practice, talk about it, discuss, was it good, why was it good, was that the right play, was that a misplay, what other options did you have available to you, a lot of number crunching and mathing things out. And so when I came over to 40K, courtesy of one of my friends, Kurt, I knew that eventually I wanted to do that again. I wanted to play competitively, and I wanted to create another community of players who wanted to dissect the game with me. So the first person I reached out to was my buddy Trevor, and you saw him in the video yesterday. And Trevor and I, we've been playing together for a long time. Trevor is a former Navy veteran. I'm a former Army veteran. We have very polarizing play styles, but we like a lot of similar things. And so he was a good first person to reach out to for this project. Now, a lot of people have been confused because they're like, wait a minute, aren't you putting out a podcast with Don Husen? And yes, I am, but I also want to caveat that with that's not going to be the only content for Playcasters or for me in general. So my group is going to have a general podcast, video cast, content-based YouTube channel. And we're still working on the name and what it's going to be, but it's going to be based local out of Northern California. And it's going to be players who want to, approach the game with this method with me. And we're going to do it kind of sportscaster style, where we play the game, and we take pictures, and we take video, and then we talk about the game afterwards in a roundtable style, and then, take snippets from the game and pictures from the game, and show plays, and, talk about it, what went right, what went wrong, doing before and after, even between turns and stuff. And so that's my goal with content moving forward. You'll probably get a lot of this stuff where it's just me and I have extra time and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to turn the camera on, I'm going to upload a video today, and I'm going to tell you guys how I'm doing. I mentioned that I was in the Army, and something I plan to do is I plan to take a lot of that knowledge and apply it to 40K. So when I applied it to War Machine, there were a lot of crossovers and corollaries to actual combat and tabletop gaming, but there are some that just don't apply and some that don't make any sense. However, 40K is a better analogy of combat than War Machine is. And I say that because War Machine is very linear for the most part. It's kind of my army versus your army, very chess-like in its dimension, where 40K is a bigger table. It's much more three-dimensional. You have bigger terrain, and there's a lot of deep striking units and infiltrating units and people coming from different angles. Deployment zones change things up a lot. So, I feel that a lot of those skills actually translate more into 40K than they do into some of the other tabletop games I've played. Growing up, I studied generals and warfare really intensely, looking at who did what right, who did what wrong, what they could have done better, what their, hallmark was, so to speak. And so I mirror a lot of those tactics. The manifesto on guerrilla warfare written by Che Guevara is one of my favorite to reference. As anybody starting out, is kind of where to read. If you also just look up general U.S. Army, U.S. military tactics, you'll find Moose Mus and some of the other fun acronyms that I like to throw around, where it will define essentially, what you're looking for in your game, what you're looking for in your list, what your objectives are, all in kind of these, watchwords of how you want to plan your strategies. Speaking of strategy, I feel like there's a big difference between strategy and tactics, and I'm going to talk about that a lot. Strategy is kind of like the overarching plan that you have. What is my mission and how am I going to accomplish it? Strategy also involves what your list is and how you built it and your synergies and your plan to apply it. But then on the other side of that, tactics are the execution of your strategy. What plays do you have within your strategy to make that happen? How are you going to maneuver onto those targets? How are you going to maintain that mobility? Do you have the correct information to apply your tools correctly? Because I think that's a big part of tactics too, is looking into your toolbox and saying, what's the right choice here? What do I need to apply to this situation? I always reference someone hitting a nail with a sledgehammer. Sometimes you just need a regular hammer. Sometimes you need a sledgehammer, but you need to look at tools and know which one is which and how to use them and how to apply them. So we'll kind of talk about that. And then a lot of that comes from the kind of Tao of how to approach gaming that I like, is because I look at it and everything, you find a baseline and then you test it and then you compare it to other people's notes and then you get it peer reviewed and then they play it and they test it and then you take their feedback and you try new things. And so in doing so, I'll be taking the game apart piece by piece and talking about it. And it's all new for me too, so something I would like to point out is that I did play a little bit of 40K and Fantasy back in the day, just because I spent a lot of time in game shops, but I've never been a 40K fan or into the game until 8th edition. And because my friend Kurt was like, hey man, check out these No Fear boxes, I think you'll love Death Guard, I never gave it a chance. And now that I have, I love it. And I have to say, I love the new edition, I love the rules, I love the universe. And so I'm getting to kind of explore that, tumbling down the rabbit hole. You'll kind of get some of that wonder and excitement for the game as I go. I'm definitely open to questions. I'll probably do a Q&A once a month where if you want to send me questions about the list that I play in the videos or the way that I play, or you just have a question, hey, I'm having trouble with this kind of stuff, I will definitely check it out and just answer questions and talk about stuff. I'm not super master, awesome game master yet, but believe me, I'm going to play a lot. I've already played a lot, and I'm going to get to the point where I can get out there. And so for me, professionally, this is a big year. I'm going to do a lot of work. But I travel a lot for my job, which affords me the opportunity to go and play in a lot of different places. So I get to see a lot of different metas and experience a lot of different things and meet up with a lot of different players. And so I hope to do some interviews and stuff like that as I go as well. But it's also a year that I don't know that I'm going to play a lot competitively, just because professionally it's a lot, and then I'm starting 2 YouTube channels just because I like the game. And I also have to get in a lot of practice and stuff to feel that I'm to that point. But I will play in a lot of local events, and I'll play a lot of ITC, ATC stuff that I can get involved in within reason. But I won't be traveling to LVO, which is already passed, Adepticon and all these other cons, just because it's not in the cards for me this year. However, next year, after I've had some time to kind of get in the work and make the practice and figure the game out, I'll probably start being competitive early in the year and see how I can grind through that year. I've done it in War Machine before, so I kind of know how to run the circuit and plan my tournaments around the rest of my travel schedule, so it should be fun, and I get a lot of exposure through that to see the game more and tell you guys about it through my lens. If you like content, I like to kind of produce somewhere between video and radio content. I do a lot of both, but I feel that ideally good content is something that you don't always have to be watching. I spend a lot of time at my desk, and I spend a lot of time in cars, and so I can't always watch videos. And YouTube Red is good for these kind of things, and as we get more networked into some of the blogs and stuff, I will try to get things through feeds and on iTunes and anywhere else that I can get it posted. But for now, it's going to be hosted on YouTube, and so at least I want it to be able, so that way if you're in your car, you're at your desk, you can listen to us talk kind of sports commentary style, and you can listen to our talks about our lists and our models, and you can listen to me rant on for hours and hours and hours without ever have to look at the screen. But if I do reference something, or I throw a picture up, or I want to show you something, or I'm doing a painting blog, you have the option to just look at the camera and say, hey, what's going on here? And the good thing about media is it's growing at an exponential rate, and there's so much out there that we can take advantage of that I'm still learning how to do this, even though I've been doing it for many, many years. So thank you all for listening. That's about the 10-minute mark. That's about what I wanted to do, is just kind of give you an update, some news and announcements, what's going on with Plaguecasters. Shout out to Don Husen. That dude works 80 hours a week too, so I know how you feel, man. We're gonna record a podcast. It's gonna take us a little bit to get it edited. We're probably not gonna get one more than one a month, and they're probably gonna be tough to get in for us. So just be patient. Thank you all for going on this journey with me. We already have 80 followers on the YouTube channel, so lots of Death Guard stuff coming soon. If you like this video and you want to see more of it, let me know, and maybe this afternoon I will post a video about my Death Guard list that I played yesterday in the video, and I can talk about it a little bit more in depth, why I like it so much, and where I plan to go with Death Guard in general. Have a great day.